Optimus Prime here, so it is time for a brand new movie review today. Today I'm going to be reviewing the first instalment, or in release order, of my favourite franchise of all time, which is the Star Wars franchise, and today's review is going to be for the very first instalment being Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, or simply known as Star Wars, in 1977, so yeah, here we go. So, this movie, in my humble opinion, guys, is an absolutely perfect movie. It really is. It's one of my favourite science fiction movies of all time, actually. And yeah, I really adore it, and I'm going to gush about it in this review. So yeah, here we go. So this movie is, of course, the start of the Star Wars franchise, the first installment of the original trilogy, and I really love it so much. So the best thing of the movie, I definitely really adore the cast of this movie. For example, I really love Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker in this movie. I love Luke Skywalker's character arc in the original trilogy, where he starts off being, this simple farm boy on the planet of Tatooine, living with his aunt and uncle, and then, of course, as the films go by, he develops and, learns the ways of the Force, all the way up to becoming a Jedi and Return of the Jedi, and, this movie did a sublime job of starting off his story, it really did. And it also made Luke Skywalker my favourite hero growing up as a child, and, and Mark Hamill is my favourite actor in Star Wars, most definitely. Voice actor would be James Earl Jones, but if it's all about live action actors, it's Mark Hamill, most definitely. So yeah, no matter what, Mark Hamill will always be Luke Skywalker. I also really adored Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia. I really love her as Leia, may she rest in peace. Her first appearance as Leia was absolutely perfect. She nailed the role of Leia so well in her first movie of the role. And I really did love her costume in this movie. It was very nice. Her princess outfit was really good. And this movie, and of course the other two Star Wars movies, original trilogy, made Leia one of my all-time favourite female characters ever in history. And it made Carrie Fisher one of my favourite actresses of all time. Yeah, she's definitely up there in my favourite actresses, even though my favourite actress is Gina Carano. So yeah, Carrie is definitely up there in my favourite actresses, and of course, may she rest in peace, yeah. I'm still not over the fact that she passed away a few years ago at the age of 60. It was just way too soon. So yeah, rest in peace, Carrie. And I also definitely really adored Harrison Ford as Han Solo. Harrison Ford was another perfect casting, and he was brilliant in his first appearance as Han Solo. And his costume in this movie, where he's got his smuggler outfit, is my favourite Han Solo costume. I really love it. It's really awesome. But anyway, though, Harrison Ford, was great in this movie, making his debut as a character. He was really good. And I love his introduction scene in Mos Eisley, where, Luke and Ben Kenobi meet him and Chewie. Speaking of Chewie, I also really adored Peter Mayhew as him, may rest in peace, Peter Mayhew. He was perfect in the role of Chewbacca, my favourite Wookiee of all time, yeah. And also, speaking of Ben Kenobi, I really as well loved Sir Alec Guinness as Ben Kenobi. Sir Alec Guinness was, definitely a really perfect choice. His performance as Ben Kenobi was great in this movie, it really was. Very good. Later, real to be, of course, Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I definitely really adored C-3PO and R2-D2 in this movie, the two droids that we get to know. Played by Anthony Daniels and Kenny Baker, may Kenny rest in peace. As a fun fact, guys, Anthony Daniels is the only actor to appear in every single movie of the Skywalker saga. And while he didn't appear as 3PO in the Solo movie, he did, however, make a cameo appearance as a human character called Tak, basically. So, yeah. So, luckily, he's in every live-action Star Wars movie, but the only one he's not in the C-3PO is the Solo movie. But, yeah, this is where he makes his debut, and I do know that in the costume he had a pretty rough time because it wasn't very comfortable for him, so yeah, I felt quite sorry for him, but at least he gave an amazing performance as 3PO. He was really funny, and this movie, alongside the others, makes 3PO my favourite droid of all time. Yeah, I really love 3PO. But one of the highlights of the movie, guys, I already mentioned my favourite voice actor from Star Wars is, and yeah, and speaking of that, I really adored the entrance of Darth Vader in this movie. Like, that entrance shot where he walks, through that dark area into, the Tantive 4, that's probably one of the greatest villain entrances I've ever seen in my life of watching movies. And James Earl Jones, he did an absolutely phenomenal job providing the voice of Darth Vader in this movie. And, of course, I've also got to give credit to David Prowse for playing him in costume as well, which was And it was really great, Darth Vader was easily one of the best parts. Now, I know a lot of people criticise Darth Vader for having only 12 minutes of screen time in this movie, because, yeah, as a fun fact, guys, he only has 12 minutes of screen time, but for me, personally, it doesn't even feel like it's 12 minutes, because he has lots of scenes. It doesn't really feel like only 12 minutes. It doesn't feel like that at all, so I don't really care about the fact that he's only in it for 12 minutes, because it honestly doesn't feel like it. It feels much longer, because he has lots of good scenes. And with regard to villains, I also definitely really loved Peter Cushing as Grand Moff Tarkin. I think it's probably my favourite role of Peter Cushing's. I think, he played the role perfectly, and he made him such a dislikable character, making him so evil and, destroying Leia's home of Alderaan. So, yeah. And I already knew Peter Cushing before he played Tarkin, because he played a variation of the Doctor from Doctor Who in 2 films where he played a human called Doctor Who, which is basically a human variation of the Time Lord called the Doctor from Doctor Who. I already knew him from that role, but I think I like him way more as Tarkin, because he did such a great job bringing the villainous persona of Tarkin to life. He certainly did. And one of my favourite scenes of the entire movie, guys, is definitely when Luke looks at the binary sunset. Like, that's one of my favourite shots in all of Star Wars, and it's such a very powerful scene where Luke is longing for an adventure, and of course, he got his wish. And speaking of that scene, I did really, really adore John Williams' music in this movie. John Williams is my favourite composer of all time, guys, and he delivered so many amazing tracks in this movie. Certainly did. Also, as a fun fact, guys, this is actually the only Star Wars movie in which the Imperial March is not played, I believe. I can't remember if it's not in any other Star Wars movies or not, but I'm pretty sure this is the first one so far in which it's not played, because John Williams hadn't composed it yet. So, yeah. Yeah, I've got a feeling it might be the only one live-action Star Wars movie in which Imperial March is not in it. Yeah, I've got that feeling. Because I'm pretty sure it wasn't in the God-awful Holiday Special. Yeah. But yeah, nonetheless, the music was amazing in this, and now, one of my other favourite highlights of the movie, guys, is most definitely the Battle of Yavin, because I think the Battle of Yavin was done so well. Even in 1977, it was made so brilliantly. Like, the battle on the Death Star was absolutely incredible. And, there's great dialogue between, the pilots of the X-Wings, such as Luke and Biggs. It was really good. And one of the saddest parts was definitely when Biggs was killed. It was very sad, but at least, Luke wanted to avenge him, so yeah. He was motivated to take down the Death Star, especially with the voice of Ben Kenobi telling him to use the Force. Like, that scene where, Ben Kenobi says, "Use the Force, Luke," oh, wow. And the music in the background, oh, that is like a very powerful moment, and, it's chilling every single time you watch it. Every time I rewatch it, it always is so chilling, it truly is. And yeah, and the ending as well is pretty satisfying, where, where it shows Han, Luke, and Luke getting medals from, from Leia, with the whole rebellion watching. That's a very satisfying moment, and I was very confused that Chewbacca didn't get a medal, because he was helping Han Solo towards the end of the battle. But at least, he did get his medal, much later on in what I consider my second worst Star Wars movie, which is, The Fall of Skywalker, as I call it. But yeah, now, is there anything about this movie that could have been improved? Well, to be honest, yeah, there is a couple of things. I mean, because this is my third favourite Star Wars movie, right after Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back, guys. Like, for example, I feel like the duel between Ben Kenobi and Darth Vader was a bit held back in terms of choreography, which is understandable because, it was filmed in the 1970s, so I imagine they weren't very well understanding of the choreography as they were in today's society, basically, or in the prequel world, basically. But to be honest, there are some parts of that duel which I don't think were held back. Like, for example, Ben Kenobi does a spin attack. So, that's not really held back, is it? But then again, the one thing that was distracting was that Darth Vader was, pivoting, forwards like this with his saber. Like, that was a bit distracting. I'm like, what are you doing, Vader? Apparently, that's because David Prowse was doing that, because he had no idea what he was doing. He's not very well familiar with the choreography, basically. Which is why, in the later duels featuring Darth Vader in the original trilogy, he was played by a stunt double called Bob Anderson. So, yeah. And another thing as well is that some people reckon there's a lack of action in this movie, but to be honest, I don't really care about the lack of action because, you know, this movie holds a very special place in my heart, really, guys. You know, great memories. Because this is like my favourite memory of all time, guys, being that I got to watch this movie for the first time ever. I was only 4 years old. And watching this film for the first time, it was like stepping into another world. It was such a sublime journey, and it made me want to watch more, which is why I then watched the rest of the original trilogy, then the prequels. So, yeah. That's why, you know, this holds a very special place in my heart. And the thing about, you know, the Death Star battle at the end is that I wish we got, you know, more drama inside the Death Star besides outside the Death Star. Which is why I do prefer the space battle of Endor in Return of the Jedi over this one, basically. Because there's more drama inside the Death Star as well as outside it. But yeah, all in all though, guys, I literally have nothing else to say about this review because I've given what I love about this movie so much. So yeah, if you know what I give it, just like in my ranking that I did back in August last year, I still to this day give it a flat out 10 out of 10 because it was a perfect start to a perfect trilogy. So yeah. And I really love it so much. Very special place in my heart. So guys, this was me reviewing the first installment of the Star Wars franchise in release date order, being Star Wars A New Hope, or Star Wars, whatever you want to call it. So you know, drill guys, be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to leave in the comments what you guys think of A New Hope. If you've watched it, I'd love to see what your thoughts are on it. Also, be sure to join the team Prime by pressing subscribe for videos from in the future. And may the Force be with you always.